Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Powerplay. We're here today with Coach Shane, who is no stranger, but I'll let Coach Shane do the introduction for himself.
Hey guys, I'm Coach Shane. I'm a coach in Far Post Academy and One United. I love futsal and I'm also a graduate in sports science. Yes, I did my degree in sports science as well.
Okay, so coming from a sports science background, right? So what made you decide to go into coaching?
Okay, interesting. I think there are two aspects to this. So I think firstly is my passion for futsal. I really love futsal. So I've been playing futsal since I was a kid. Okay. I always thought, okay, once I grow up, what can I implement futsal and a career? How do I make it a career?
Okay.
Then I found out there was this degree called sports science. I was like, okay, I love sports. This could be something I want to do. And that's when I found out, sports coaching is a thing. People coach sports. So I was like, coaching futsal, brilliant thing.
Okay, so you basically merged the two to your career lah. Okay, so you coach kids and adults, right?
Yes.
So how has your experience been so far as a coach?
Okay. I think experience as a coach, ups and downs, but I love coaching. I think coaching is just like something that brings joy. I see kids happy every day. I see them having fun. Coaching kids is a whole new world because as long as you like kids, you like playing with kids, it's very easy to coach kids because you have that engagement with them, you have that interaction with them. Coaching adults is also super fun as well because you're talking to adults. As long as you're a people person, you like having conversation, it's natural for you.
Okay, so how long have you been coaching now?
Okay, I think I've been coaching for about 3 years.
Okay.
About 3 years in total.
Very nice. Okay, so we've gone through a bit of the good part as to what you enjoy about it, but I'm sure there are a lot of struggles that you face as a coach, right?
Yeah.
I know I have my fair share, but I think the audience would be pretty interested to hear what you have to say. Especially a lot of them know you as their friend as well, right?
Yeah.
So what are the biggest struggles that you face as a coach?
Okay, very interesting question. Some struggles, of course, coaching is great and stuff like that. But
maybe we could start with the kids aspect first. So,
even better. I think coaching kids and all are cute and stuff, right? You're always happy when you see a kid. They bring a lot of joy, a lot of laughter. But I think some struggles that come with it is a bit of cuteness comes with a bit of chaos.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
So in a whole classroom setting, it's a bit chaotic, especially when you coach kids like under 5, 3 years old, 4 years old, 5-year-olds. They are the ones where you need the most amount of energy, the most amount of attention. And this could be a struggle because kids feed off your energy.
Yeah.
And sometimes not every day you wake up and, hey, I want to be a coach today. Hey, I'm looking forward to coach.
Yes.
Some days it may be a bit harder to get out of bed and say, hey, I need to go and coach. And this is when you need to push more. Yeah. So that's when it could be a bit of a struggle for some coaches, and I face it on certain days as well.
Yeah, okay. So as much as you love it, there are days where you don't love it as much lah.
Definitely.
Okay. So yes, when you talk about chaos, right?
Yeah.
So I know I'm no stranger to chaos. Sometimes not just with the kids, with the adults also. But with the kids, when it comes to chaos, like what are some examples that you would give? Okay,
there's a lot. I think you can find some kids think they're Spider-Man. So while you're running a class in a futsal court, you know how the sides are netted?
Yes.
So these kids, they just start climbing up the net, and you'll be running your class with the rest of them, and they just start climbing up the net, and you turn around like, where's one kid? And he's just climbing up there. Or there are other kids that just do their own thing. So if majority of the kids, there's always 1-2 in a session where they just want to run around, do their own thing. Some of them just cannot come in the classroom.
It's more of like a attention problem.
Yes, more of an attention problem with the kids, I think.
And of course, it's a lot harder for the younger ones lah.
Definitely.
Right? How do you balance the fun of, like, because you can't be a military person in training, right? Especially for the younger ones. So how do you balance that and them learning something?
Okay. I think for kids, what we like to do is, or what I focus more on, is a lot of fun. So my main goal when I coach kids is for them to have the best time of their life in class, I guess. Okay. But at the same time, I want to know that whatever I want to coach, I will get my pointers across. So for instance, I set easier goals or simple goals for kids. So if I want them to just learn how to get a bit of coordination. So I could even do this with, for instance, a balloon. You don't even have to use a ball. Just blow up a balloon, get them to hit it up. Just keep the balloon up. What are you doing? You're learning coordination. Are the kids having fun? They are definitely having a time of their life.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so I think it's that's how I try and find the balance. For kids, a lot of fun drills, but with a meaning behind. Or I know that if I want to do coordination, I can get it done through this way. But kids are having fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, so that's for kids lah, right?
Yeah.
So that I would say the biggest struggle. What is the biggest struggle for the adults age group? Or rather the open age category lah?
Right. Okay, for the open age, no pointers to anybody. But yeah, for those that are listening, for
That means
open
there are
age,
pointers to somebody.
for some, I think the main problem when you coach a team, especially a team of adults or a team that wants to play together or competition or league or anything of those sort, inconsistent players are the biggest problem. Or yes, why I would say so is because as a coach, you have a plan you want to get across, a 3-month plan, a 6-month plan you want to get across.
Yeah.
If your players only come on the first week, miss out the whole tactical, or you're teaching a tactical movement. Let's say you're teaching a 3-1. If you teach them how to defend as a unit, as a diamond, 3-1, how are they going to implement it if they only come on week 1 and then they come again on week 4 and then they come again on week 7?
Yeah.
The rest of the players will understand. But if one player doesn't move together, the whole movement is destroyed. So
Okay,
in
so
that
the
sense,
inconsistency of players lah.
Yes,
So how
inconsistency.
have you dealt with this?
what I have done is, I think I've just been trying to reiterate to them. I tell them, hey, if you don't come, it's technically your loss. I cannot play you as much in the game. And the reason is not that I don't like you or anything. It's more of you don't understand the movement, and this is due to just you not coming every week.
Okay, so how do you think you can fix the issue of inconsistent players?
How would I fix it? That would be interesting. I would personally, I think I would get these players. When we join a league, any team you join, you want to go something more competitive. Whether you start in a social setting like the team that I coach with, started as a social team, and now they say, Coach, I want to join a league. Coach, I want to train more. So I'm like, okay, when we join a league, how do you pick your players? Are you going to pick the consistent ones, or are you going to pick the inconsistent ones?
Yeah.
Then it depends on their playing level.
Yeah.
So if you're talking about inconsistent players, I would address them and say that if you're playing a league, there is a certain method we have to play if you want the desired results. If you want to finish top 3, we have to have a system, we have to have a formation, we have to have a shape.
Okay.
And the only way to do this is for me to have a fixed set of like 8 to 10 players.
So which means you probably wouldn't play them in the league if they are inconsistent lah.
Exactly, yes. Because if you don't know the movement, you don't know if you're going to spoil the whole gameplay for the rest, why do I play you?
Okay.
Yeah.
So what happens if your best player is inconsistent?
That's a very interesting one.
Yes.
That's an interesting one.
The reason why I ask, right, is because more often than not, the players who are at a specific level, let's say out of a 10, they are 7 or an 8, right, and they know that they're good. So of course they would know that, okay lah, I'm going to walk into the first 5. Right. So then they don't prioritize training as much.
Yeah.
And of course the ones who are not as good will try to come as frequently as they can, because what they're trying to do is fight for their spot.
Definitely.
Right. So if you have a superstar that's inconsistent, would you bench him?
Very good thought. Okay. I think for me, right, when I coach, there's definitely that one Ronaldo in the team. There's definitely that one player that is super good, and you know it will benefit the team if he plays, right? But the problem comes, like what you said, if he's inconsistent, if he doesn't come every week. But there's a league coming and he's still your best player.
Yeah.
He's still your playmaker. What do you do then?
Yeah.
Futsal, from what I understand, is a team sport.
Yes.
It can't be an individual. When you go higher level, there's no one player that will dribble the whole team and carry the whole team by himself. It's very, very hard.
Yes.
It's more of a team sport. So you need everybody. You need you need squad depth.
Okay.
And what I mean by squad depth is you need consistent players that play together, have good chemistry, have good technical abilities, and this all comes with training.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So what I would push towards is, I would pick, there are exceptions to the rule, but I would definitely lean towards bringing the consistent players, giving them a chance to play. Why? Because you are implementing what you have learned. And what we need in a team sport is squad depth. Not really an individual player, but squad depth can overrule an individual player.
So it's not like a black or white lah.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay.
Very subjective.
I mean, this is something that I think most coaches struggle with. I mean, on a professional level, of course not, because they don't have a choice to come for training or not.
Yeah.
But most amateur or semi-pro teams, this can be an issue lah. But I think what you answered is pretty much the standard answer from most. But I think there is a significant impact that you would give your squad if you were to bench a star player lah.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. I really think so.
These are the few things that maybe some coaches can think about, rather than, I've seen some teams who on a league basis, they just collect certain players, they collect the stars and then they place them in the team. Yes, they win the league, but is that your player? So I mean, that's also another whole ball game that we have to maybe dissect on a different episode. But the reason why you train as a team is, like you said, to build chemistry, to be able to get them to develop as a unit, not just as individuals. Right? And if you keep prioritizing the one and not the many, eventually the many will fall over as well. Right? So this is something that I think is very important. So, and if you want players to keep the passion, keep the fire going for futsal, there needs to be a certain system that they see their hard work pay off. And if someone doesn't come in, if someone does come in on a random note and is this, like, let's say it's a good player and doesn't put in the work, right? And then the ones who are putting in the work just sees this player walk in, play, and then go back. It can be quite demotivating lah. And then as much as we are in this scene of development, this is totally goes against all the principles that we stand for lah. So I think this is one of the things that some people need to, I guess, keep in mind lah. Not just the coaches, but I guess even the good players as well lah. Because at the end of the day, like you said just now, one player can't dribble the entire team lah.
Definitely.
There are some very, very, I would say, exceptional examples, but it's not as many as people think lah. So okay, that's very cool. So what is it that you enjoy most from being a coach? I know you mentioned kids, seeing them happy, laughing, and all of this, right? So, but other than that, I'm sure there are very specific examples, right?
So I think what keeps me going when I coach is mainly seeing players hit their goals. So whether they are kids or whether they are adults, everybody comes with a different goal. Some kids just come to have fun. Some players come wanting to improve because they love the sport. Adults especially have a more specific goal. Whether it's for fitness, you come to the same class. Whether it's for being the best player at your current state, could be you in the same class. And I think for me, my job as a coach is to identify your goals and help you reach it. And I think once we are in that track or on the right track, then it's very satisfying.
Okay. So how important do you think is sports to kids?
Oh, very interesting. I think a lot of parents that come for free trials to our Far Post Academy sign your kids up for a free trial. If you come for a free trial, I think parents always ask, why do we need to invest in sports for kids? It doesn't really make sense. But once you become a coach, you understand when we coach kids, right, there's a huge level of disparity, especially from the ones we know as MCO babies. The ones, those kids, when they came out after MCO, there's very clear difference between from social interactions to coordination to mobility to understanding how to do movements.
Basic motor movements, right?
Exactly, basic motor movements. These are something you grow up with. So sports for kids as young as 3 to 5, really important because you build their core. You bring them to the right foundation. You teach them how to run. To run the right method, how to fall down. These are stuff kids don't learn. Not all kids learn themselves. Some kids you have to put them in a sports setting, then they know, okay, you fall down, I can't be crying all the time. I have to learn how to get back up. I have to learn a bit more of coordination, a bit more mobility, gain some strength, do some basic movements. How do I do this kind of stuff?
Okay. So basically it's more of a holistic development lah. It's not just I would say good for the sport. It's good for their also social aspect, mental aspect, all this kind of stuff, right? So this also applies, I would say, to adults as well lah.
Yes, definitely.
Right? Okay. So earlier you mentioned you're a sports science graduate, right? So we might get a bit technical on this, but I think it's important information for the viewers to know is that so what did you learn in this course, and like how did you incorporate this knowledge into your training sessions as a coach?
Okay. So sports science is everything sports and science, everything related to both of it, right?
Okay.
But I think let's just break it down to what I implemented from sports science to coaching. There are 3 main aspects. So first one is sports coaching. What I mean by sports coaching, there are 2 parts of it. Firstly, how to be a coach. What methods work as a coach. So, like, some players work better when you're a bit hard and rough and tough with them.
Okay.
When you always push them, always tell them, hey, you can do better, you can do better. Give them the next pointer, give them the next pointer. Other players, they work better with more encouragement.
Okay.
Lowering your standards, not for the worse, but that's how they grow, right? And this kind of stuff there are different methods to coaching it. Then you learn a bit more about coaching methods, or in a whole, what's the flow of a coaching session.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
So for that part, how we do it, or how I do it right now, is I start off with an intro to a session. That's the first one.
Yeah.
I tell the kids, hey, today we are going to learn passing. We are going to learn a bit of 1-2 passing, so at least they have an idea of what we're going to do. Then we go into warm up. Really, really important. Warm up and cool down. Something a lot of coaches tend to forget. Why? Because what is warm up? Warm up is like doing mobility movements, warming up your joints, warming up your muscles, getting your body ready for the sport.
Okay.
And then you start off your session. So usually there are 2 drills and then game situation. Your 2 drills would start off, let's say we are teaching a 1-2 pass. First drill is a functional movement. What I mean by this is just to teach them the skill that you want. So if you are learning 1-2 passing, I'm just going to teach you how to pass. So just do a simple pass and run across. What my focus is, just learn how to pass.
Yeah.
After that, you go into the advanced movement, which is a bit, you involve or incorporate movement into the skill. So from basic passing, now you're going to do a 1-2 passing. So you have to pass and move, pass and move, pass and move. And that is the flow. So kids understand, or players understand the flow of it. And then you go to a game situation. What I mean by game situation, you need either a defender or a goalkeeper. So in a real game scenario, you want to replicate it as much as you can in a real game situation. How do a defender stand? How do I implement this when I play a game?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And then you go to your cool down. Like I said, very important. Better for muscle recovery. You don't want to wake up with your body super tired, super achy. I feel a bit sloppy. Stiff. Yeah. And then you end it. Most important is the debrief. Why I say debrief is important, you could have taught everything, but you need to teach them or inform them your coaching points. When you coach, you have a lot of coaching points.
Yeah.
You have to remind them, okay, these are the coaching points we learn. We learn passing, we learn 1-2 passing, we learn pass and move. For instance. And these coaching points could be anything. It's subjective to the coach itself, how he wants to teach them.
I think that's actually a very good point, because I see, so what you're speaking about is the coaching process, right?
Yes.
The step to step. And I think more often than not, sometimes because of time constraint or number of players and so forth and so on, some coaches skip certain steps, right? And there is no 100% right process. To each coach, they have their own process, no problem. But I think one aspect that is especially important is the debrief. The reason as to why is because sometimes, like you mentioned, players just do what you tell them to do. But they don't understand why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
Right. So sometimes the debrief is a good time for you to dissect the entire session and to see actually how many players understand the reasons as to why they're supposed to be doing this.
Right.
Rather than just, like you mentioned, like a certain movement.
Yeah.
Yes, it's at the start they might need to memorize it.
Yeah.
But after a couple of sessions, they need to understand why they're running in that method or in that way. Because if it's memorization, then what will happen is it only applies to that specific situation that you have just curated in your training.
Yeah.
But we all know that in game situations, it never happens. There are 1,000 other alternatives on how the defenders might stand.
Yeah.
Right? Every team is different. The style of marking is different. Or there are, like I said, exceptions.
Yeah.
So there is no fixed way. So you can't possibly simulate every single possible scenario in training.
Yeah.
But what you can get them to do is understand and problem solve.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? So
That's
if you get them to understand why they're doing what they're doing, then they'll be able to solve their own problems, which can arise in any situation in the game.
Yeah, and I think that is the most important thing, problem solving. I think that's what, as coaches, that's what you want to teach your players, right? Because not like what you said, every game situation you have to learn how to adapt.
Yeah.
And by adapting, you need to know how to problem solve.
Yeah.
You are given a basic movement of how to break out of pressure, for instance.
Yeah.
But how do you implement that in the game? That comes to your creativity. That comes to adapting to the game situation, where the defenders are, where your space is, and stuff like that. And this comes from problem solving, like what you said.
Yeah. So I mean, one of the best examples I could give is a question that's always posed to me in training sessions. So for example, like when we do, I would say defending in a diamond shape, right? So it's a bit of zonal, and at a certain point it becomes man marking, right? So I simulate it in training, and I'll give them an example like, okay, so the first step is the player closest to the ball has to press. I think this is common knowledge for most futsal players and coaches, right? And then when you're doing zonal, you always have covering, right? Then they go like, okay, what happens when the player runs through the middle, right? So and then it becomes something that's a lot more complicated, right? Because it's actually a simple fix, because if you understand the concept of why you're defending the way you're defending, then you won't ask me that question lah. You know, but most of them end up asking, okay, so what do I do with this? And then after training, when we run it and I explain that situation, another situation will arise whereby the way that the opponents were attacking were not the same way that I showed them in training. And then they're like, oh, so what do we do now? So you're going to have to answer your players 101 different alternatives, which is not a sustainable way of you coaching, right? But if you teach them problem solving like we mentioned, then I think they will be able to, like I said, problem solve.
Exactly.
Okay, very cool. So I think now let's move on into one of the main topics that I would like to get your opinion on, which I think you have a lot of experience in because you are the main coach for the open age category in One United, right? So just for viewers to understand, what is the open age category?
Okay, so the open age category that I coach, it's players from any level. So as long as you like the sport, you want to exercise, you can just come and join this team. So we have every sort of player, I guess.
Okay, so all levels lah.
Yes, all levels.
Okay, so what are the biggest pain points that you help this group of people solve?
Okay, so I think mainly it's what their goal is.
Okay,
so some of them just want to come and exercise. Some of them afterward, they don't have an avenue to exercise. They straight jump into here and they're like, hey coach, I need a place to exercise. I like playing futsal. Please help me reach my goal. I want to get fitter. No problem. Come and play here. Some of them actually love the sport, but they have no coach or they have no guidance.
Right.
So they also come here. But some players are already good. Come here. We have a progression for you. You can go into our competitive side.
I see. Okay. So basically, the open age group, for those of you who do not know, it's basically an elementary level for anyone and everyone to come and try lah. Right. And of course, you have a significant range of players. So the youngest, if I'm not mistaken, is 19. And I'm not sure, but how old is the oldest?
The oldest goes to about 36 actually.
Okay.
About 36.
Okay, that's not that old. But okay. You don't really see as many lah who want to train lah. Most of them play for fun, but okay, very cool. So why do they join these trainings, and what are their goals?
Okay, so players that come here, most of them after work, everybody knows exercise is good, but do you actually do it? Not many people. And why do you not do it? It's very hard to do everything by yourself. So I think joining a team, any sport they like, for instance, this one is futsal. Players adults after work, they want an avenue to work out. They want an avenue to exercise. Some of them already like a bit of futsal or have a bit of knowledge of futsal. Just come and join. Why join here? Because any level. As long as you have a goal, tell it to the coach, tell it to me, for instance, and I'll just help you reach it. Some of you want to increase your fitness, go for it. Some of you want to take your futsal game to the next level, let's go for it.
Okay, so I think there are two main groups, I would say. Right. So one group is probably the group that is very new to the sport. They want to learn a bit, and at the same time they are a bit more I would say like I said elementary level lah.
Yeah.
And they want to gain some experience and hopefully maybe end up in the competitive side of things.
Yeah.
Right. But then there's also another group who I would say young working adults who I would say maybe they love the sport, but they don't want to play it competitively because of risk of injury, because of, I would say, commitment to work, family, and all of this, right?
Yep.
But they want to maintain good health, but they don't like the gym, right? Or they don't like jogging.
Yeah.
They just want to play, right?
Yeah.
So they enjoy the sport,
Yeah.
and this is one way that they can, I guess, experience that lah.
Exactly.
Right?
Exercise through futsal.
Yeah, so it's two different groups.
Yeah.
But why would a 36-year-old join this? And like, has there ever been any of them who has said like, I should have joined this sooner? So my question is like, is it ever too late?
Oh, okay. I think before I go to the final answer, I think why would a 36-year-old join? I think it's a bit interesting, his experience. He came for our trial class. He knew he was the oldest and he was just laughing about it. So once he joined the class, he told me, Coach, I think I want to sign up. I was like, oh, okay, brilliant. I didn't expect it because I just thought it was a bit too far.
Okay, sorry, just to ask, you don't need to name drop. It's fine.
Yeah.
But this 36-year-old, what does he do as a profession, and do you know this information?
Okay, I'm not exactly sure. I know he trades.
Okay.
Yes, he does trading on his own. I'm not too sure he has his own company or anything, but he does trading. He's in a trading line.
Okay.
So he just told me that he really wants to learn futsal. So I was like, okay, you're 36, you really want to learn futsal, but you are not in the best shape and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, not too bad. He started signing up for 3 months. He took the 3 months package at first. He came, he joined us, and to be honest, after about a month, I didn't think he would make it because he was struggling every training. Every training you can see like he's pushing himself, but you can see just to reach the level of some other players, it was a bit hard for him.
Yeah.
But this guy pushed through, and now it's his second month, I think, and he's at least an average player over there. He has improved tremendously. Even he knows. Even he told me, Coach, some days, right, I also don't want to come training. I'm too tired after work. If I'm not mistaken, he works at 9 to 5 and then he does trading after hours by himself. Yes, he's a hustler. He was telling me about it.
Very cool.
But yeah, so when people like this, when I find out that they can sacrifice, although they are so dead tired, and they can sacrifice this time out, there has to be this value or something that you are getting from this training, which is what brings you back. Why are you taking the 3 months package? Because there is something that's pulling you back to this team. And I think it's a lot about the community you build in this team. Everybody comes from everywhere. Some come from Bukit Jalil, some comes from here, some comes from there. But this guy, they just like the interaction between guys. Everybody just come, play futsal, exercise. It's fun.
Okay.
It's fun.
So when these players come, right? So I think one of the biggest things that maybe a lot of people don't or underestimate. A lot of people underestimate is how long they have to play the sport that they love. Right. So this is one of the main things that I tell most of my boys is that yes, at 24, 25, you might be really I would say enthusiastic about playing because that is maybe your priority at that time lah. But then once you go into the workforce, you end up prioritizing work, which of course is very important, but then you completely disregard your passions and sporting and health, right? So I think, and then later on in life, you come back to questioning like, oh, I should have, I would have, I could have, all of this, because then it's a bit harder for you to get back into the groove of playing at the level that you did play before.
Yeah.
You know, so this is something that I believe I've had quite a number of experiences because I'm 33, so not 36, 33. But I had so many friends who are my age now. Obviously, they were my teammates who were playing with me as I was growing up. You know, and then over the years, of course, the number of players who have been playing me have dropped off lah because of, like I said, prioritization of work and all of this lah. But you'd be surprised after about, let's say, 5 years of hiatus, I would say, a few of them will message me again like, hey, you still playing and then the question will be like, hey, how do I get back into this Because they realize that, okay, I'm now 33, 34, 35. At 40, if I wait another 5 years, at 40 years old, if I don't prioritize my health and fitness now, or futsal now, at 40, I can't.
Yep.
It's too long gone for you to get back into the groove of playing competitively.
Right.
You know, and I think a lot of players have also regretted their decision of completely stopping.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So these are the things that I know it's a bit of a sensitive topic, because some people say, no lah, I mean, you got time for it, just play lah. You know, like the view is, because it's my job, I have the time for it.
Right, yeah.
But this wasn't my job the whole time. You know, for example, like I was in PR and consulting, I was also teaching prior to doing far post full time. But throughout that 5 or 6 years of me working elsewhere, I was still playing futsal almost every other day.
Right.
Because this was my view on it lah. I just never wanted to go out of touch with it.
That's amazing.
I loved it so much. So I think for whatever reason, people can decide to prioritize it, even if it's once a week or twice a week. Because once it's gone, it can sometimes be gone lah.
Yeah.
For good. And then it's too late. You know, so I think players need to appreciate the time that they have to be able to play the sport that they love, rather than just, you know, I'll do it when I have the time. Because before you know it, you don't have the time lah.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, life is short, and life as an athlete is even shorter. Right, so that's just some food for thought. I know there might be a bit of pushback when it comes to doing what I said you should be doing. Of course, like I said, all jokes aside, making money is important. Family is very, very important. But I think players underestimate how much passion and sports should mean something to them before it's too late.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so I mean, that's a bit deep. We will go past it. So for your age group of open age, right? So how often do these players train?
Okay, so we started off training actually just once a week. So we were training every Wednesdays in Subang once a week. Then I realized some of the players started asking me, so it's a social team, right? Because like what you were saying, it's everybody from every level come and start here. If you want to play better or play at a higher level, then you go up. So this is like your starting ground, right? Then these players told me, hey coach, I want to train more. And as a coach, when you hear these kind of words, it motivates you, because you're like, they are looking forward to training. They want to take their game to the next level. And it's a breath of fresh air for us coaches, that's what we will say. And so now some of the players even train twice a week. So we opened up a new class. So now it's on Tuesday.
This is a new development.
Exactly, that's why. So now we train, about half of the team trains about twice a week. The rest, about 15, 20 players train about once a week.
I see, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, very cool. So, how is it different than, like, you know, like a regular pickup game, or let's say training by yourself or playing for fun with your friends?
Very interesting. I think a lot of us coaches, right, we would face this problem of players telling you, I play my friends 15 ringgit, I play you 50 ringgit. Why? So the value of the coaching, what is the value to coaching, or what is the price to coaching? How much are people willing to pay to
That's a podcast for another day.
It's up. But
which I will do.
So I always tell, what I tell players is, you can go ahead and play with your friends, but what is your goal? If you just want to kick around, interact with your friends, maybe that's your place. But if you want to improve fitness, if you have a more specific goal, in our training we do drills. You will definitely improve. Whether you see it or not, there will be a progression in your fitness, there will be a progression in your game style, there will be a progression in your physical abilities itself. So it's not just you're going to become a better futsal player. You become stronger, you become fitter.
Yes.
And these are stuff where you don't just get it by yourself playing in pickups. Why I say so? Because coaches have a plan. So there's always a progression and a regression to it. There's always a progression from you start with this. If you cannot do level 1, if you start at level 5, if you cannot do level 5, there's always like a level 3. The coach will know how to break it down for you.
So there's a regression and there's a progression.
Correct, and this is over a course of, like, let's say 3 months. So you know after 3 months there is an improvement for yourself. But if you play your friends, I can be playing every week. There might be slight improvement, maybe 20%, but at least I know like when you come and play in a coaching session or in a training session, there has to be like 50-60% improvement at least. Otherwise, why are you training?
Yeah, but I think like it's not when you play your friends, you're not going all out lah.
Yeah.
I mean that's a different thing. But I think the main part is the fact that a coach is there to help you develop.
Yes.
And push you to progress as a player lah.
Yeah.
Right. Basically improvement lah as a whole. Right. So another issue that I think this solves is most likely the main issue lah. Right. Pick up games. For example, you get a WhatsApp group together. You get maybe 20-30 players inside, and then you put the list out. Hey, let's play futsal on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Right. The first week 20 players. Second week 5.
Yeah.
Right, and then you start the tagging. Oh, hey guys, we got the group together. Let's train, let's play, or
call your other friends.
You call your other friends, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
The group can have 80 players. I've been in some of these groups. Can have 80 players, but the consistency is like 6 or 7 players. You know, so in anything, if you want improvement, there needs to be discipline. There needs to be consistency.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, so this I think is another way lah that you can help, I guess, players achieve certain goals lah. And if it's not a priority for another group of people, by all means you need to move out from that group lah.
Yeah.
Or you need to find a place that prioritizes the things that you prioritize. Yeah. So I think that's another big thing that we are trying to solve, right? So regarding your warm up and cool down, right? Just now you mentioned briefly. So for the players who don't play competitively, I know those who are players who are playing pro, there's a very fixed regime that they need to follow. But what kind of warm up and cool downs do the, I guess, semi-pro or social players need to do, and what would you recommend? Because you know, like a lot of them are in office the entire day.
Right.
Most of them are like seated down in one position the whole day,
Yeah.
either in class or in uni or at work. You know. Yeah.
I think for a general population that generally plays sports, I think 2 things very important when you do warm up, especially, is to do mobility movements. So in warm up, for instance, there is dynamic stretching and static, right?
Okay.
Static is sitting down and stretching, or standing up and stretching, not moving, right? Dynamic is more of movement, so jogging while swinging my arms, for instance, that's dynamic stretching.
Okay.
So for warm up, definitely go towards dynamic stretching. And when you warm up, you want to warm up stuff or body parts that you use during the game. So for instance, if you are playing a futsal game, why do people do a lot of lower body exercises or lower body warm-ups? Because majority of your movements are lower body. So depending on what you're doing, your warm-up should be replicated to the movements you're using in-game.
Okay, but I see a lot of I mean, this sometimes so happens in the trainings that I see, is that they start with static stretching.
Right.
This is a
very common thing, and if it works, it works. But imagine this: if you're sitting down from 9 to 5 desk job, your muscles are stiff, everything's tight.
Yeah.
Because you're just in the same position for hours and hours.
Yeah.
Take a 1 hour break, you go and play futsal, and you just want to start static stretching. You want to stretch something that's already stiff. What a better method would be to loosen your muscles first, loosen your joints, loosen your sockets, and this is what I mean by dynamic. Do some movements.
Okay.
And then you go into a bit of stretching, no problem.
Okay.
But yeah, do movements where compound movements are. If you want to stretch your bigger muscles, people of general population, you're not going to stretch every tiny muscle just for fun futsal, right? Yeah.
So basically, you basically have a difference with dynamic and static stretching, lah. And then post training, it would most likely be stretching.
Yes. Post training muscle recovery, very important. Just go and do some static stretching. Use a massage gun if you have. This is so that the next day you don't wake up tired, sloppish, and my body's aching.
Yeah, because there are a lot of complaints, right? The next day, coach, I cannot walk.
Exactly. Yes.
I
You
cannot
don't
go
want
up
to hear
the
this.
stairs. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Fine. So I think we are drawing to a close, but I think it's very good information. And this is Coach Shane, who is basically our One United social team head coach, right? So thank you so much, Shane, for your time, and thanks for the amazing job you've been doing
welcome.
for the kids and also for the open age category. So if you guys have any questions for us or for even Shane specifically, you can shoot them our way or even comment below. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next week on the next episode of Powerplay.
See you.